Listen, Z-Man, about to make history.
I ain't never heard nothing like this.
Or I'ma tell y'all about some history right now.
Backgrounds.
Hold on, backgrounds, we working together, relish.
Okay, let's do it.
Y'all ready for the lyrics? I used to be this young skin everyone would lie to. Then I saw the truth and stopped eating meat back in high school. Struggling with dairy until I was done with that too. Friends and family scared for me, feeling it's unnatural. Natural. Question for anyone who's against me.
What's up, y'all? This is Nytelife of 4BarLoop, and my guest tonight is fresh off the 7th annual Slap Frost tour. He's a creator of the album Animal Slavery. It is Z-Man in the place to be.
What up?
Hey,
man. What's cracking, man?
All right, so you got your feet on the ground after tour life already, man?
Yep, back to it, back to the grind, back to drawing, painting, taking care of people's, and this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So how long you plan on taking off before you go again?
Hopefully not that long. I mean, hopefully, something crack off in a month or so. I don't know. It all depends. If somebody's like, oh, we need you, man. We need you over here, man. Can you, blah, blah, blah. And they negotiate it right and whatever. Then I'm ready to jump. I mean, I'm always ready to go, to be honest with you, man. This is just, I'm trained for it. I've been doing it a long time now, like 20 years touring now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah. So it's one of those things where I'm like, well, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? So let me know. You know what I'm saying?
So the bat phone rings you out.
Yes. Yep. Bat phone ring. I'm out. I'm out of here.
Yeah, man. So I've had the pleasure of speaking to Vocab Slick and DJ True Justice. I had talking about the tour and how hard you guys worked to keep it going. And congrats again on the 7th annual Slap Frost tour. What has motivated you all, you yourself really, as far as to continue to build and to grow that movement?
I think most of all is the people, the supporters. They motivate you. You wanting to just get out there and I love performing. And I just love music of all sorts. But getting out there and performing and showing them something old, something new, or whatever it is, and people really appreciating it. That's the motivation. Really, I mean, when it comes down to it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely a job, you know what I'm saying, at this point, and it's something I'm just gonna keep doing until the wheels fall off, the legs fall off, whatever.
Right.
But it's really the people's. Like, they just, if they want me, man, and I'm there to do it.
So what's more of the business side? I mean, as far as the business side, what's more of the job for you? I know the entertainment value is being on stage and entertaining and stuff like that, but when you got to get in the nuts and bolts of the business side, is that more of the job part of it for you?
That's the job, sort of. Yeah. Like, that's the stuff you'd be like, meh. But it all depends. It's kind of like, it could be a good thing because, you you sit around and kind of have a meeting about who to bring and talk about, just, a meeting of the minds, if you will, and just kind of, get the right artist, like whether they be an opener or they're, a headliner or whatever, and, just do the research and then there's other things, business. We have to talk to people. Well, I mean, I've kind of stepped slightly away from that part more so. A few years ago, I was kind of more on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, now it's more so like, True and Vocab, and they come to me and say, hey, we got this idea and this and that, and I have to go, yes, quiet. No. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I mean, it's more like, they'll just tell me about it and or run it by me or whatever, or just say, oh, this is what we doing, True's like, yeah, man, this is what we doing.
So you just the guy with the big rubber. You just the guy with the big rubber stamp that put yes or no on it, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, man. I mean, I used to put tours together too. Crazy. When I went out with Hieroglyphics, that was my first major big tour, almost 20 years ago. And I took sort of that blueprint a little bit and just kind of like put my own spin on it, and started reaching out to promoters and stuff like that. And I was really into that. Like I was really into the wheeling and dealing and trying to like holler and see what I could bring. Started hollering at other artists, you know what I'm saying, and be like, hey man, you want to go on tour, blah blah blah. And they would collab with me, and then we would just kind of just go out, you know what I'm saying, and that would work, you know what I'm saying. Like it was a good time. And then I linked up with True, and we started doing stuff. And I remember doing something, I forget what it was, and he was like, oh, that's what we getting? And I was like, yeah man, yeah. So I ain't playing out here. So then we started just doing our thing, and then it came, sorry about that, and then it came to a point where he was he just kind of like took over and more like started booking them, you know what I mean? So it was fine. I just kind of like stepped back a little bit, but still as a partnership. And then the Slap Frost thing came as an idea, and we just kind of and it wasn't called Slap Frost at first. It was some, I don't know what the jerky name was at first. I kind of forget, but they I remember them two Vocab and True calling me up being like, hey, we got a name, man. Oh, this is the one, and they said Slap Frost, and I was like, at first, what? Slap Frost? What's going on? I kind of knew, but I was like, oh man, I don't know. I was having my reservations, but it worked out. And I drew the character for it, the mascot, you know what I'm saying? And,
you drew that? That's dope.
Yeah, I'm the artist for everything. I drew the album cover. I drew the album cover for Animal Slavery too.
I was just about to ask you for that. I was about to ask you about that too, because that album cover is crazy, man.
Yeah, it had to be like that though. It had to, but that's a whole other thing.
Yes, sir.
We'll get into that. But they came with that name, and I just was like, okay, and the rest is history. We just kind of just went off doing it on our own for a while, for 7 years. Crazy.
All right. Since you had an East Coast and a West Coast leg of this tour, what was the better side of the tour? I don't want you to have to get into the thing where you're saying what city, but what leg of the tour was better?
Probably the West Coast. But there was moments in the East Coast, and I've been to the East Coast plenty of times, just on other tours or whatever, and but no, the West Coast was. I think the attendance was better on the West Coast. You know what I mean? But it was. I don't know. There was some shows definitely on the East Coast that were like, okay, all right, this, especially if you know cats and they kind of know about you and they come out and whatever. Yeah, it was. I can't say 50-50, definitely. You know what I'm saying? But also too, what's crazy is it depends on the timing, you know what I'm saying? Like the time of the year or just the season or whatever it is, So that I think that brings people out and stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, weather is a weird thing, that could change moods. That could change moods. And
it can, man.
It's tough. It's cold, or it's too hot, or it's just you're dealing with all these things, and then you got to go on stage, you got to perform. It's like, you got to. Cool. It's a little harder to rock out, but you're a vet, so you know what to.
Well, you know what? Yeah, definitely, and it just depends on if people want to come out when it's that cold.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? That's a whole other hype. Because people be like, I don't know, and then people be there and they be like, all they inside with their beer or they little, you know what I'm saying, in their hand, rocking back and forth, still cold, waiting for other people to come through to heat them up. Then it gets live, and then it's cool.
Yeah, those everybody bring your ass to the front moments.
Yeah, what's crazy, man? I kind of stopped saying that a while ago, right? And then I look at the footage to some of the stuff, and it just looks like a tiny desk performance or something now. Like it's like, because sometimes people they're comfortable sitting at their little chairs or sitting in the back, kind of not being seen. It all depends. You know what? Really, it all depends on the venue too. Because if the venue's like one of those, then they just kind of like, ooh, they're just up there. But then if it's like just a lean back kind of venue. They just like, oh, okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? Just too cool for school. It's funny. It's funny though. I don't know.
What's up, y'all? It's Nytelife, your host of 4BarLoop. Are you a safety-sensitive employee and have experienced a failed drug test? Contact SAP Solutions. We are a detailed clearinghouse with the best prices in town. We also have virtual evaluations available. Let's get you back to work ASAP. Call now at 916-415-8707 for your same-day appointment. For more information, contact SAP Solutions, 916-415-8707. SAP Solutions. We get you right and we get you back to work. Peace. Yeah, man. I mean, the rule for my team when we was going out and performing was like, look, if we're performing, we're in the front for the other artists that perform because we need that same energy from them. These buildings don't be hundreds of thousands and millions of people there. Sometimes you're gonna have really small venues with small
crowd. Small crowd.
We gotta make it what we need to make it. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta be there for everybody else. So completely
absolutely.
Understand.
Yeah, and then you got people sometimes. It's funny, like the openers just dip out, right? And the openers might have brought a crowd, but the openers will dip, and then they take their crowd with them. You know what I'm saying? Which is always funny. I was like, don't y'all want to stay here and soak up some of this game?
Right.
What I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
You don't want to network?
Nah, yeah, exactly. Nope. Absolutely don't. Nope. They don't want to do nothing. So, they just be there like, yeah, cool. All right, did my thing. All right, everybody just thinks they're a star, dude. No knock to them, but then there's some of them, there's like, what is you doing even? What do you even do?
Like, we know it wasn't what you thought it was, bro.
Right, yeah. And then sometimes, shoot, man, the openers are really good, which I like, it should be like that. But then, sometimes you got trash openers and they just be like, yeah, cool. And their little team is there and they dip. Or this is the thing, or you have openers that are real good and they have nobody there. They're just there by themselves, basically. A DJ, maybe.
See, and that's the hard thing for me because I will go to the front when I go to the front and rock with them, dude. I don't care if I'm the only one there. I just go to the front and rock with them. Because they be needing that, man. You gotta be pushing. You gotta push people through.
They do be needing that. They do.
They be hurting. They be hurting, man. Like, oh man, I can't believe it's only like 4 people up here, but you gotta give it to them, man. You gotta be up there.
You do. And you gotta also just give it your all. Yeah. Still give it all. I've been to some shows with some heavy hitters, right? And the crowd might be looking light. MC Light, and they just, and then they kind of get like, man, they're not going to give their full, they're not going to give that full energy. So they just kind of just do 3 or 4 songs and be out, you know what I'm saying? Or they just, you can tell by the attitude, they kind of just, man, this is what it is, man. Yeah, it's funny, man, but they be doing that, and then they just, you got that too. But I never felt the need to do something like that if it was just like, just real light, you know what I'm saying? And then, because I don't know, you just got to kind of give people, just give it to them,
right,
straight up, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of who there, and people came out. At least these many people came out. It could be 10, dude. It don't matter. That's good. You could rile up 10 people. Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Well, let's get into you, and as far as music is concerned, where you so where'd you start at, and as far as where you're from.
Well, I'm from San Francisco, California.
Okay.
Near the Fillmore, and kind of sprinkled everywhere, really. Man, rap music. Where do we start? Because it captured me, man. Like, it caught my attention early in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? So, when it was kind of just even getting its feet wet. I mean, maybe it was out a while, and then when my young ears started really hearing it, I was like, what is this? Mm-hmm. Who's doing this? Because everything else around it sounded so grown and sexy and, and just old, you know what I mean? Like a lot of love songs and R&B and everything else. at least my folks and my grandparents was playing that, uncles and cousins and them. But then hip hop just, I don't know, it just, man, me and my brother it was different to the point where you're like, it was almost like, is this really happening? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we looked at each other, me, my brother, and like young friends, and we were just like, this is us. This is us right here. This is just talking to us. And then I don't know, I just started freestyling, I guess. Didn't know I was really freestyling, but I would just come off the head with all kind of rhymes and stuff just all the time. And I love DJing. I love that sound. I love when DJs was doing it, you know what I mean? And I knew a few when I was young, and I just really didn't know what they was doing until I went and visited them, and they would just be cutting records and doing all this, and I was like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? But when I started, I probably started in high school, really, just writing stuff. But I was really just like biting everybody, you know what I mean? Like biting my favorites, like, and just basically like EPMD. I remember just kind of like rhyming like them, but I wrote this. I remember Master Ace had a song, and it was well, who got me started in rapping? I'll tell you that real quick. Too Short and Slick Rick. They made me want to rap. They made me want to rap because they were just so unique, and they just was raunchy. You know what I'm saying? Like that part, I just was like, what? Like I couldn't believe what they were saying. And it just made me kind of just want to get into it. So anyway, in high school, I just was kind of writing raps, and then I would write all these, people's raps down, and then I would add my own words and stuff and take out words and all that. And then I got to a point where, I don't know, a couple of friends was like, yo, let me, I would freestyle over, just in the passing time or whatever, just having fun. And then I just kind of was like, you know what, man, let me just start writing my own stuff. And then went ahead and did it. And it was just like, oh, okay. I was, it was kind of weak, you know what I'm saying? But you get more vocabulary, and then more experience. You look watching TV or whatever, you just get these, this inspiration. And I was always drawing. And so I kind of would, I just kind of formed a animated style over a while, I don't think I found my style until I was out of high school, and probably, I don't know, in JC, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, whoa, this is it. And I found it by accident, really, just like so many raps I was writing, and kind of just bit my own stuff. Because I used to just write a lot of battle raps, and I'm this, I'm that, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. I got more of this than this and that and that. I'm rapping like this and this, and I'm harder than, just that stuff. And then one time I just was like, yo, I'm going to do this. And then me and some friends formed a group called 99th Dimension, which was off of something I drew, like a comic book thing I was doing. And we did that. We offered the name, offered the cartoon I was doing. And just, it didn't really mean nothing, but it was a kind of dope name and concept, like, oh, we just so far and we just another dimension, but it was dimension, like demented, you know what I'm saying? And we would all do our individual stuff. We would go to the studio, this studio called Jam Studios. And that's the Reel to Reel. That was when Reel to Reel was cracking, and you go there. Yeah, you go there with your little, maybe three verses by heart. You know what I'm saying? You would know them by heart because you paying that good money. You get in there.
Know your shit.
You had to know it, dude. And the crazy part is we was so heavy in the beats, but we didn't have any equipment till later. And so what we would do is we would go through all these samples, break beats, whatever, and then we would look up all these samples, and then we would pause tape stuff, you know what I mean? Like just kind of, I would record stuff, then I would go, oh, I want that, I'm gonna use that, I'm gonna use this, oh, I'm gonna bring this record for that, and it'd be all in your head. And so when we get to the studio, we just was like telling the engineer, yo, okay, I want this beat here, cut it right this, make this sample right here, maybe sprinkle a little bit of this on it and do this, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just maybe put a little bass, like it was crazy. And then we get on them, after that was done, we get on the mic, spit these raps, and then if you messed up on one thing in your verse, you'd be all right. Let me do the whole thing over.
Run it back.
You know, you just run it back. It was crazy. There was no punching. There was no slicing and dicing. There was no like, oh, okay, cool. We'll just pull this back, and then it was none of that. So I don't know. It was crazy, but that's what we knew. And then so 99th Dimension formed, and we put out a first tape in '96, and kind of got a little buzz, but I think we got a buzz too because I was drawing all the flyers for it. I would just draw these random flyers, 99th Dimension, and go to Xerox them and just be handing them out everywhere. Then before the tape even dropped, I was just making dubs and just kind of giving them out, you know what I mean? Like getting them to people. And we had pressed up all these album covers previously. And so we had all those. So I would just like put the real album cover in and just, you know, have the dub and draw on a little something personal, you know, and then just get it to fools and sell them or whatever, you know, just whatever it was. And then when the manufactured product came out, we was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then cats was getting it. But it was a time, man. I think it was received well, you know what I mean? Because it was just like a fun tape, and we was talking crazy about the industry, and, you know, and just, you know, and that helped me kind of write better, actually. Like being with a group, you know, just got me away from what I was doing and made it more like, you know, structured. Like how to rap about different things. You know what I mean? Yeah. Instead of just like, oh, I got to rap like that. Go ahead.
Yeah. And speaking of that, you kind of came around in a time when I was coming up too, because I think we may be around the same age. During that
60.
whole
we're 60. Yes, no, right?
Yeah, something like that, right? So coming up in the you know the golden years of Bay Area hip hop. Everybody was going gold and everybody was going platinum, and you know, everybody was going up. Everybody was on BET in the box and all that stuff. Did you ever feel with so many styles that was like, when everybody was coming up, because you could be hieroglyphics, and then you could be Too Short, and then you could be JT the Bigger Figure, and you could be Hobo Junction. Like with all of that stuff there, did you ever feel a pull to have to go to either like to either different side of the way that the versions of hip hop that was happening? Because there was the streets, and then there was the conscious movement. So it's like, did you feel like a pull at all during that time when it was happening?
That's interesting because, you know, the funny thing is, man, I'm like, from all that, like, you know, kind of, you know, I've been around cats in the streets for a long time, you know what I mean? But I always was like myself. So I wouldn't be tripping too much about, you know, because I could have been rapping about that too. But it was like, what am I don't know, man. And it wouldn't have been no poser move or nothing. It would have just been like, okay, I'm doing it too. I'm out here, yada, yada, you know what I mean? But I just was like, I got to talk about something else, because this is a thing that we're living actually, and it's a downer. You know what I'm saying? Right. I didn't want to talk about street life like that. Maybe once in a while I'll say a little something here and there, but I couldn't make it my whole MO, you know. I couldn't, you know, be that character. So more like talking about other stuff, really, like that's what I had an infatuation for that. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to songs about whatever, drinking water, songs about this and this and that, you know, but still, you know, I don't know. I just when hieroglyphics came out, funny thing, or when Soldier Mischief came out, when I started hearing them, I was like, ooh, see, we don't have to sound like we don't gotta sound like whoa. They doing it, and it just was like, oh, then this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy, like, because I was like, wow. And especially I heard Dale, I was like, because there were so many, like, I felt there were so many similarities with him and me, you know, like, and it's crazy because we're tight now, you know, we good friends now, and we be, you know, we're same age too, and then, you know, and we're 2 days apart actually, you know, August, you know what I'm saying? But he's a trip, and then, you know, fools be talking about that, but yeah, man, I mean, back then it was like I was listening to all this gangster shit, and I was listening to, I was listening to everything. I think Bay Area cats was just like, we listened to everything. If you was,
we listen to everything. That's right.
Yeah, if you was really into hip hop, you was just like, you wasn't tripping. You was listening to everything. You know what I'm saying? Especially when the '90s was strong. Like,
Yes.
I mean, I love '88. That's my year. I'm not gonna front. It was just super sick for me. And 89, 90 came, and 91, it was like, woo, 93, 94, ooh, 95, ooh.
We was cooking. We was cooking.
Fool. It was cooking. And it just was everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the mob stuff, you know what I mean? All that. I was just, I don't know. It was something for everybody, but there was a time definitely when the Bay was, it was like, oh, it's just Bay only,
Yeah.
And then so, you had that where I would run into cats and kind of just rap, and they would be like, man, I ain't tripping off that, man. Give me some of that Bay shit, man. I want to hear that Bay, man. You ain't got no Bay in you, man. You sounding East Coast. I'm like, this ain't East Coast, fool. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just didn't know, or they just, that's all they knew. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I can do that too, but let's rap. Let's rap.
Yep.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah,
absolutely, man. You hit it right on the head as far as like when Hyro came out, when Souls of Mischief came out, it kind of was like that. Man, you know what? We can do other stuff. We can do other stuff. We kind of felt like we were a little like pigeonholed with having to do street, and
right.
And they came out and they was doing conscious and they were talking about stuff, and Dale was just being crazy. And it was like, okay, now it's almost like we have permission to go out and do it now. Okay, we can do it, so we can just be us now. So it's crazy.
Yeah. Other groups too, like Board Stiff, man. They was like, and I'm really close with them too. And it's just, I remember hearing them and then kind of hearing Souls of Mischief and Hyro, and I was like, hold on, man. Because the styles were so similar, and I was like, wait a minute, hold on, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? And then other cats was kind of it was just a time, man. It was a good time, and those groups kind of like made me feel like, okay, they doing it, man. I'm finna do the extra food in. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be myself, just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. It's like, I remember writing a few street raps, you know what I'm saying? And just be like, okay, yeah, where I'm doing extra. But then, and it was like, it was kind of funny. I remember my mama finding this one rap, not even a whole rap, but it was like something about, I was talking about the police. And she was like, Zaman, that's wrong. She kind of checked me on it. She wrote on the paper, actually. And she was just like, oh, that's wrong, And I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I was like a teenager then too, but, even though I felt the way I felt, I was like, oh, yeah, because I was kind of just saying a lot. And I didn't, but that's not even how I was living at the time. But, when we was young, we just kind of just steering away from that. We always knew somebody that was kind of like, loped up and crazy and whatever, but you kind of just gave, you hung with them with a grain of salt and, in small doses, I would say,
Right. Boy, I was
really trying to do other stuff. I was not trying to be.
I thought I was gonna be Spice too. I was
Word.
like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I want to be Spice, and then
that was crazy when he came out.
Was like, yo, that's not, man, come on.
Knock it
off. I was like, all right, let me get back. Let me get my real bag. Okay, I can't.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. You just get that inspiration and want to emulate cats, or either try to be like, oh, I'm gonna do it better, or you just like, yeah, man, you're just gonna do it like, I don't know. I mean, it's funny. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm a mixture of a whole lot of things.
It's part of development, though. That's part of development as an MC, is like you learn all these different things and influences and styles and stuff, and at times you'll be able to integrate all of that stuff to build things. Sometimes you have to tell that street story, or sometimes you have to go in and as creative as you were, like on Animal Slavery, which we'll get into in a moment. When you want to have something that's going to be on theme and you want to bring people into your world and tell them exactly what's going on, you have to draw on all of those experiences and stuff. And when you was copying this, and when you was taking that, and you took this flow pattern here, and you took this cadence over here, and incorporate everything and build it into something that's yours. And I think that that's something definitely that you have done, because well, you rhyme very comfortable in yourself and in what you're in on the beats. The beat doesn't overtake you. The beat doesn't just become the story. It's like, okay, the words that's over the beat is what's the story, which is the most important thing for an MC. If you're not getting that out of your audience, then you're not really doing the shit the right way. Like, that's how I feel. But anyhow, getting into Animal Slavery, I think it's a very polarizing project. You were focused, you were motivated, you took on the subject of meat eating versus vegan lifestyle. What made you take on this task and create this project?
It's funny, man. Like, I've always been, I started out vegetarian when I was real young, just on my own. You know what I'm saying? My whole family was bugging. They were like, "What? You don't eat meat? What are you doing?" But I always said, like, oh man, I got to do this as a survival tact, and I just, I've been doing that since. I mean, it's always been a part of me, like, I saw some films and I saw some documentaries and stuff like that, and I was like, yo, this is, I can't do this no more. I can't contribute. You know what I'm saying? It's too much. So I decided to go vegetarian and stop all this stuff. This is when I was probably 18, something like that. And it was rough back then, man. Like, I mean, trying to be, vegetarian, you still kind of messing up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Right. And, eating eggs and dairy and whatever. And then I got to a point where I wasn't eating dairy anymore. And, I didn't really eat it that much or use it or whatever. Right. And so stopped that. And I would write little raps, I would write little stuff here and there about being veggie or whatever. And then kind of I just stopped eating all that and just kind of became vegan without, when it wasn't popular, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But every now and then I think I was eating fish and stuff like that here and there. So, and then I, completely came to a point where I stopped. But writing this album, I wrote a few songs first, just to kind of like, I didn't know what the album cover was going to, or the album title was even going to be. But then I came to this thing, I was like, oh man, Animal Slavery. I was thinking about it more and more. And I was looking at other stuff to get me pumped up. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, videos and all this, and just, and then researching stuff and going, man, let me get pumped up, and let me maybe do this. Let me maybe write something about, but it was still like, how am I going to write a whole thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I going to make a whole album about this? It's like, I don't know, cause I'm usually talking shit and, and doing my thing and I'm off the hook, but and blunt with it, you know what I mean? And just kind of styling. But with this, I just felt like, all right, let me start off with a couple of songs. So I did, and this is like 5 years ago even, I'm telling you. Wrote a couple of songs, and then got a few more songs done. Shout out to my boy Tahaj the First, because he's the one who produced the whole thing. He didn't even know what beats I was using. He didn't know. I mean, he just gave me a ton of beats. I had them, and I was just sitting on them. But then I would listen to some and go, what if I did this to this? What if I did this to this? What if I did this to this? You know what I mean? Yeah. Start writing the stuff to it. And it just was coming out, man. It was just really it was coming out of me. You know what I mean? Like, just knowledge I had, and then stuff I was reading and stuff I was kind of like looking up, just start flowing. And so I was like, okay, now let me keep my same energy as I write my other songs, basically. And let me not preach. Let me just kind of just be informative. You know what I mean? Like, just really like, and some songs are catchier than others, and some I just had to like rap. You know what I'm saying? So I just did that. And, off and on, songs start forming, and, start start researching more. Then it came to the pandemic time, and that's kind of like what put a kibosh on stuff, because we were on tour and I got back and I was like, yo, man. So I jumped in, I'm doing my artwork and stuff, and doing commission work and all that. But it was enough, but it wasn't enough to like get back in the lab and finish all this stuff. This is to the point where I came and said, all right, let me do this whole album. I'm just doing this whole album. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I couldn't really afford it like that. So I went ahead and did a GoFundMe for, a few thousand, and just to finish it up. And so the supporters came through, they sent it to me. I was like, yo, man, right on, and I was thankful. And yeah, man, it was crazy. And the only reason I did it for this, because this is just such a different thing. It's not ego music. It's not me just, like I said, it's not just me talking shit and talking trash and just being, this is why, blah, blah, blah. And I'm Z-Mania. Check this, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I had to calm down. So, and this is just for this, because I just saw a bigger cause for it. So I did the GoFundMe, it came through, and I was able to finish the rest of it. Just, record the rest of it, wrote some new songs actually, and mixed it, mastered it. And, then I started working on the album cover and some other stuff coming, poster work and other little stuff for merch, you know what I'm saying? Soon to be coming. And that was it, man. And then hollered at some folks, and I finally got it out, and I'm just pushing. I'll probably push this for about a year.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But
you just took one of my questions off the board.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, just only because it's just that kind of thing. And I feel like I'll drop some things in between that time, but I'm just gonna have to push this, because I really want to get this awareness out there. You know what I mean? Like, and just, I don't know, just kind of tell people, and Black people especially, and other people of, ethnicities and stuff like that, and who are just so traditionally like stuck to their foods, that is basically killing them. You know what I mean? Because they overdo it anyway. And then, our country is crazy, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just, obesity is high, and diabetes and all this, and cancer, and, a host of things that just aren't good. The environment, everything. You know what I mean? Like, when you do all this, you really put a toll on our environment and the planet. You know what I'm saying? So, so I just had to, like, I don't know, I just needed to write about it. You know what I mean? And put it in song form, because that was the only way I felt like people will really listen to me. I can walk around being, hey man, you shouldn't be, hey, this and that. People calling me my boy calling me the vegan overlord. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not the vegan overlord. I want to see you live. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all. I want to see you healthy. That's it. And I just think that doing this, a little risky. Somebody asked me, it's funny, somebody asked me today, they was like, hey, do you think it was risky of you to do this? And I said, yeah, it definitely. I ain't been out in a few years. This is the first album I put out maybe in, like, I want to say 6-7 years or something like that. Something. And this is what I'm coming with. You know what I'm saying? Like, this instead of my usual tomfoolery. So I was like, yeah, man, I need to do this, and more to come, actually. It taught me how to write now about, like, certain things, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I could have did, but I'm saving it for a little later, See,
and that's one of the things that I wanted to ask you about too, is because immediately when I was listening to it, it had me questioning some things off the bat, the intro. When I heard that, I was like, yeah, it really got me kind of looking like, damn.
Yeah.
Is he talking to me? And then creating, I mean, that's power though. That's power. When you can stop somebody in their tracks and make them kind of rethink some things at the time that they're listening to it, there's a lot of power in that. Creating a theme, that's based on creating theme-based projects, period. The difficulty of it is crazy if you're not passionate about it. If you're passionate about it, it's a lot easier for you. Right. This was very intricately done. And the one question I do want to ask you about it, is in the creation of it. Was it done to spark controversy and awareness, or was it done to make some folks uncomfortable? Or
maybe all of it. The controversy, I wasn't. I don't know. I'm always saying something,
Well, controversy is kind of strong. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's life choices, so it's like that's not really too controversial. So let me just take that out. But more so the awareness and then making folks uncomfortable.
That both of those, because I think people just need to hear it. And the thing is too, I wanted to I didn't want to go extra hard. I'm known for really writing detail well, I guess. And I could do that. And I could have been, this could have been a whole other thing. Some people thought it was just going to be some dark album, you know what I mean? Like, but when you listen to it, it's like, okay, it's kind of okay. The music's not, just, what I'm saying? And it's not just in your face, like it's you. So, but I wanted to make people think, definitely, and so I did it in a way where you can digest it, you know what I'm saying? Like, your palate could be, it's one of those things where you want to try this, you know what I'm saying? You might taste it and be like, okay, it's cool. All right. Or you might be like, I don't know, man, it's a little strong, you know what I mean? So I think I don't know. People are definitely talking, but again, it's not over the top, you know what I mean? It's not, just hitting you in your head. It's just,
you're doing the preaching. I mean, you're doing the teaching and not preaching.
Yeah.
I think that's important. That's an important. You have to be able to toe that line to be able to get people to listen to your messages. Because if they think that you're trying to tell them to do something, you need to do this or else, then they're gonna turn that shit off.
Yeah.
That's hard.
It is, and the thing is about it, I was really conscious of that, and I was really just like, that was kind of the challenge. But then it started becoming just very easy, like I was like, okay, let me just write this, and it started writing itself. And I didn't sound too anything that did, I was like, because I rewrote a lot of this, honestly. There were some things I was like, I came back to it, I was writing this album off and on for 4 years. And so, once I started really, I was like, okay, again, once I got that GoFundMe going and everything else, and I finally was like, it's coming out now. I'm tired of talking about it, tired of saying it, you know what I mean? And I just jumped on it. But yeah, it was like some songs I was like, oh, let me redo this, you know what I'm saying? Not because it was just, but there was just some things I was like, that's not right. And I like to write and kind of just, have time with it, you know what I mean? Before I really just pull the trigger. So yeah, man, I mean, I hope people, this is what I hope people do. I hope people listen to it and they can say, oh, okay, maybe, all right. Maybe I should calm down on this a little bit, or tone down on this, or, whatever it is, or things they just didn't know, like about the ocean or whatever, or dolphins and whales they didn't know about, or, just certain things. And the song Giving Up, I'm just kind of saying, talking about like how I had to give this up, and I'm trying to eat better, and it's hard, and you know what I mean? And you're at the table with your folks, and they be like, what? You ain't eating this? And what? You still, and then they asking you, but you eat fish, right? You know what I'm saying? You're like, no, I'm completely, and they're like, what? So, I just want people to be aware, definitely, be aware of what it is. And
the really dope thing that you did was that you took subject matter and you approached it from different angles, and you still made it fresh. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't anything that got boring or like, oh my God, he's talking about this again. Like, it was the perspective that you have from each song was so different. And I think that's what made it it kind of made me daisy chain listening to him. Like, oh, I got to listen to this next song. I got to listen to the next song, and everything fell into place. Even with Venus Vegan, For you to be able to
right.
put together pretty much a girl song, which is like a staple in pretty much any hip hop album, to put together a girl song and then base it around, you want you a vegan princess. Like, I think that's dope.
Right,
And
yeah.
that's not easy. That's not an easy thing to do, and to tell it from that perspective, I thought was really creative, man.
Thank you. Yeah, that was one of the that was one of the first songs I did too. And then I wasn't sure if it was gonna, the rest of the album was gonna go like that, or it was gonna go, just all over the place. Because it could have easily been like, I could have just, I don't know, man. I just had to focus. You know what I mean? Like, I had to really just be like, no, this song is this song is that, this song is that, and then the beats and and just kind of pick the beats out and go, no, this works for this. Oh, this works for that.
Right.
So, because it's got to be entertaining, and I'm glad that I didn't bore you. You know what I'm saying? And the first song comes on. It's all so different though. So the first song comes in, you're like, oh, okay, what's going on with this?
Yeah.
And then the rhymes come in, and you're like,
right.
What?
You're immediately at attention when you hear the intro. And I think intros have to be done in that manner. If you don't have anything that gives them a statement piece of why they should listen to your album in the first place, and your intro is trash, again, nobody's gonna go ahead and even venture. It's like, oh, okay, automatic.
No, right. Especially these days. You know what I mean? This day and age, crazy.
Short attention spans, boy. They got that. It's long as a half of a commercial. You got 15 seconds to make an impression. If you can't do it,
that's right.
All right, next. What's the next thing? What's the next shiny object?
Exactly, man. It's funny because people thought I was gonna do like a whole other different thing with this. They thought I was gonna like do trap music or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, they thought I was gonna go the whole trap route, and I just was like, nah. Just to be like, you gonna catch them with this. If you do. That was a suggestion, I remember, and I was like, I ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping it hip hop, and I'm keeping it straight. Like, you can do that. I've heard too many like corny vegan rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like, just do that. And if that's your thing, it's not like I wouldn't rap over some trap, but it's just got to be. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be unique. It can't sound like everything.
There's a time and place for everything with that. And I think you can rap over anything. There's nothing you can, you can rap over anything. So it's like, you can't, I won't just go, okay, well, I'm just doing a trap right there. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I would do a project, and if a trap song happens to be on there, great.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever, man. Just have some major bass. I don't care about nothing else. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Move them hi-hats out the way so I can rhyme. That's it.
Right. Yes.
Tuck them a little bit and let me go to work. It's fine.
You know what it is. Yeah, man. Yeah, shoot. But I don't know. There's a lot to come with this. I'm just sitting around waiting. I'm definitely pushing it toward a lot of people who have these vegan platforms. These vegan influencers and all that. So I've been kind of like, hey, check this out. Even if you don't listen to rap, like, which I think is one of these albums you can go, okay. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll hear everything I'm saying, and it won't be like off, or I'm doing extra slang and, ebonics or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So you'll be like lost. You'll be like, oh, wait a minute. He said this and you said that. Oh, wait a minute. And then it's concise, and it's consistent, so it's not, so I'm just trying to, like, I think that's what I'm trying to do most. That's my, making this album was my activism. You know what I mean? My animal activism in me, just trying to make people listen, first, and then I can do, then we can have conversations and we can talk about it, invite me to your schools, whatever, invite me to your, whatever you want to invite me to, and we can have these conversations.
And the beautiful thing about your project is that it won't age.
Yeah.
It won't age.
Yeah.
This content will always be in fashion, and you can literally work this for a long time.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
yes.
I think so.
Right
man.
on, man.
I really think so, because it's like, you know, some things date themselves. This doesn't date itself. You were teaching. It's almost like looking at, you know, a social studies book. You know, it's there's history that's there, and then you can always reteach that to somebody. And I think this can be retaught. So it's definitely one of those projects that I listen to it, and it's like, if you're listening to it for a reason outside of being able to be taught, then I think that you're going to miss the point. And you have to listen to it with that, because I was like, when I heard the intro, it was like, okay, I need to be this is something that's going to educate me on veganism. This is going to educate me on, you know, meat eating versus vegan. This is going to educate me on that. So I was invested in that to hear, because I want to hear that. I want to hear that side of it. So I think that was, again, I can't tell you how well this was done. Man. This was done really well. Thank
you, man. I appreciate you for that, man. I mean, you know, worked hard on it, and I just want people to, you know, learn something, walk away with something, even if they're like, oh, I'll listen to it once, man. And you know, I kind of was, you know, thinking, you know, maybe I need to leave that hot dog water alone, and you know what I'm saying, stop sipping on that during breaks, you know what I'm saying, and maybe, you know what I'm saying, just anything, because man, like, people like to, oh, you eating that's processed. But what are you doing? You eating hot dogs and tuna and whatever else. I mean, I can sit here and talk about it all day. I don't want to get on what people eat. You know, I understand. You know, just people got to survive and do whatever. But I'm just saying, like, hey, what if you just ate less of that? Because obviously it's not doing you any justice. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, and we getting older. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you don't want to just. And the information is out there. Like, why would you continue to just bury yourself? You know?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna hold you, man. But tell the people where they can find you.
Well, y'all can find me at. They can find me on Instagram. You can find me at ZManeyZDazzle. You can find me on Twitter, Z-Man the Original. You can find me on Facebook if you're still on there, Z-Maney Z-Dazzle. Find me on all the major, what is those we doing now? Oh, streaming platforms. Find me at, you know what I'm saying? We're doing that now, I guess. Find me on YouTube, I suppose, Z-Man, you know, Z-Man. Just look me up. Just look me up, man. You know?
I have your links. I have your links on fire.
Okay. No pun intended. So, have my links on fire.
Have your links on fire. Yeah. So I got you. Hey, man, it's been wonderful talking to you, man. Thank you. One more question.
Yeah.
Who was the young lady that was rhyming on carnism-based diet?
She was busting.
Whoa.
Yeah, I let her do her thing, because I was like, nah, you know, let's, you know, that is Breathless right there. She's a really dope MC. Look her up as well. Breathless. She's on everything, you know, at Breathless, whatever.
Okay.
And well, I put her on there because she was kind of talking about trying to go the vegan route, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, okay. And I already knew she rapped well. So I was like, well, you think you want to get on this and, you know, collab and this and that? And she was like, oh yeah, for sure. And then when she came through, she just murked it, you know what I'm saying? And it was like perfect. It was perfect. It was just, you know, like I loved it. Everybody on this album did a great job, you know what I mean? Like, where they just came in and did their piece, and you know, and it made sense, you know. Yeah, so it was good, you know.
I really love moments when I have, who is that? I love having those moments. I think those are dope. Those are dope hip hop moments. Like who is that? Let me go. I'm looking up Breathless, man. I need.
Yeah, look her up, man. There's you know, my boy YG, Sick YG is on there. Sick YG, and then we got Little Flower Nasty. We got D Wiz. We got Kate La D, and I think that's it. Oh, you know, my boy DJ Pause, he did the scratching just on the intro, the intro and the milk that honey.
Hey, yeah, that's one of the records, man. I like Milk and Honey. I really like that joint, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So again, man, it's been beautiful talking to you, man. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me.
Hey, man, I appreciate you letting me hang out, man. You got to calm down, Z-Man, tonight. So, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, it could have turned up. It'd have been all right, man. You know, it's cool.
No. Yeah, it's just been a day, man. I didn't sleep that well, so I kind of took a young nap, you know? Yeah. So I could just kind of be like, okay, let me get up at 7 and get my bearings going, you know, because I got to, you know what I'm saying, do this, that, you know, 8 o'clock, gonna do an interview for this animal slavery, you know what I'm saying? No, it's good, man. I love it, man, because, you know, just to tell people what's up, and, you know, it's crazy because I'm just now, I feel like I'm getting back to my thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, came out a while ago and it was cool, and you know, life happens, of course, and then, you know, you got your hip hop life, and then you got that other life we started with, you know what I'm saying, before hip hop, and that life is just doing the most. So now I think I'm getting back to my thing. So it's an honor, a privilege, man. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here.
Peace out to Sacramento too. Love y'all.
Absolutely. Difficult roads often lead to most beautiful destinations. Shoot your shot. Go for the win. You might make it. Peace.
Word.
As long as you don't see him being killed to hear the screams, you're cool with the hamburgers, barbecue, and wings. To you it may seem these beings are only here for us to eat, bleed and breed for the protein. Okay, now, there's nothing vegetarian about dairy. I say the estrogen in soil make me famine them to scare me. Really? What? You want all the spaghetti, don't you? Ready to starve a child, behead a cow, and push a bulldozer. Sneaking canola oil and sugar and everything. I'm trying to get off the stuff, you name it another name, and making fun of me, cause I don't eat no lobster or steak. I'm plant-based, you shoving crab in my face, and that is lame. Your whole damn frame's going obese and want no peace with the beast unless it's deceased and grease, and we go having some drinks and speak about Syria and Palestine while you dining a chick is period equivalent to smoking cigarettes. You know the consequence at the expense of animals until the doctor says it's best you invest in a healthy diet or try to live with diabetes, cancer, and hypertension, cause it's hard and hard for y'all to think like this. Y'all ain't trying to hear somebody tell you eat right. This y'all been comfortable eating a certain way your whole life.
Go and get it.
And it's hard food that might just set us up for failure. What we put inside us might just kill us all, covered up by one big lie.
Go and eat it, get it.
Wait, let me masticate what's on the plate. It ain't up for no debate, it just comes down to what at stake. I mean, I'm leaning, being vegan, seeking meaningful and purpose, saying to myself, I work hard, yo, I deserve it. So I'm an animal, eating up other animals. If it was humans consuming, then we'd be calling cannibals. View the difference, really cognitive dissonance, switching ocular vision to seeing the same resemblance. What all these cravings all behaving out of character. The greedier we get, the more we change into a predator. Change the narrative, plant-based is imperative. I swear the process is saturated with additives. Animal testing, steroid injecting, things I can't pronounce become the maze disease infecting. That's why I had to get sustainable. My own organic garden in my yard is so attainable, I'm saying.
Cause it's hard for y'all to think like this. Y'all ain't trying to hear somebody tell you eat right. This y'all been comfortable eating a certain way your whole life.
Go and eat it, get it.
And it's hard food that might just set us up for failure. What we put inside us might just kill us all, covered up by one big lie.
Go and eat it, get it.
We got fried chicken, bacon, eggs, maybe some veal. I pinch my own nipple just to see if it's real. Like when a baby seal is being clubbed for its fur. And animal testing claiming it doesn't hurt. Yeah, we need a cure, but I know it don't come to putting animals under conditions so severe. So innocent and pure, and they dead flesh don't hold no medicine or vitamins. So what have you heard? Fish is brain food and milk is great. Stop, milk is raping that fat in your steak. It's about to raise your cholesterol and give you them hormones. The rest of y'all be eating boiled dog right off the bone and heavenly criticized like I for eating plant-based food disguised as what y'all didn't catch or kill but still addicted to. Damn, you are what you eat, fool, just look at you. Hard for y'all to think like this. Y'all ain't trying to hear somebody tell you eat right. This y'all been comfortable eating a certain way your whole life.
Go and eat it, get it.
And it's hard food that might just set us up for failure. What we put inside us might just kill us all, covered up by one big lie.
Go and eat it, get it.
I can't even afford to buy all these vegan type products to begin with.
Meat, dairy, and egg-eating societies are the main cause of world hunger, as they continuously feed 50% of the world's crops.
System
automatic,
Automatic.
systematic.
Automatic.
Back to the 60 billion land animals that we kill in the meat, dairy, and egg